expecting it. Compass didn't give me a tracking number or any warning. That seems to be how Compass does things. Yeah, and in the box, I actually signed up for the Kickstarter for African Campaign. Last minute Kickstarter they do always right before they ship out the games. So this is African Campaign by John Edwards, and I did add a game to the box, Russian Campaign. This is actually a game I played a lot as a teenager, Avalon Hill version. I'm really excited about getting this game here. But both of these are by John Edwards. Both of these are from the 70s. And just to throw in this, I do have this game too. I guess I'd call it my John Edwards triple play here of games, Fortress Europa, which came out after these two. The 70s and 80s. Played this one a lot too. This one I never got, African Campaign. So I'm kind of excited to take a look at this too. And these are well accepted games. Not too hard, but has enough chrome to make it interesting. Big picture of the African Campaign, the Russian Campaign, and then the landing in Europe and the Allies. So I'm not going to do an unboxing of this one because it's been out for a few years, but I do want to do an unboxing of at least actually Russian Campaign. Even though the Kickstarter was for African Campaign, I'm really excited about Russian Campaign. I played this game a lot in high school. A lot of fond memories of this game. So let's start with that one here. I'll take this one off to the side. May do another one on this later. Okay. So here we go, the Russian Campaign. Try and get the glare out of here. Bear with me, this is kind of a slightly new setup too I'm trying to do. So yeah, interesting. I mean, I like the box art. I'm not a box art expert like some other podcasters have been, or I've listened to their podcasts, but I mean, it does look nice. Original 1974 edition, so looks like they haven't made a lot of changes. Probably cleaned up the errata and the rules and enhanced the components there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and see if we can, and bear with me here as I'm operating my equipment, see if we can zoom in on some of this stuff. Here we go, just the description here. Oops, yeah. Recognized as one of the finest games ever published, war games ever published, winner of the 76 CSR Awards. This is a remake of the Jedko version. Eastern Front, easy rules, simple rules, but a lot in the play, yes, and that's how I remember it. Fast playing. And then they talk about German mobile troops, panzers, paratroopers, Stuka units, HQ, even Hitler and Stalin units. So, good coverage. I don't think it goes... I think Berlin's on the map. We'll see that in a second. Let's look at the components here. The map is mounted, actually. That's pretty cool. I think there's a better way to do this. Hold on. Like I said, bear with me. There we go. So, maps mounted, one counter sheet, half-inch playing pieces, 2 player cards, initial setup, rules booklet, 2 dice. John Edwards, the designer. Let's look what it says. Complexity low. Yep. 1 turn is 2 months. 32 miles per hex, armies and corps. High solitaire solubility, that's good. Average playtime is 5 hours. And then they do have some examples, and we'll be getting these out too. Still got glare, sorry about that. But you do see some of the counters I mentioned. There's some examples in the map. Let's go ahead and zoom out though. Alright, so look at the back now. Let's go ahead and flip it over and open her up. Always find this is kind of hard. There we go. Alright, and the first thing we start out with is the rules booklet. Not much, not too thick, which actually may be a good thing. We'll go ahead and take a look at this in a little more detail later. Just curious. Oop, that's not good. See how many pages. Oh yeah, 12 pages. And we're already at special rules at page 10. It's got optional rules too. And there it is, 9 pages of rules. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a second. A little more detailed review. Then I've got the counters. I already opened this one, but let's take a look. Yeah, this is how I remember the pieces. HQs, German Panzers, 8-7s, 7-7s, 6-7s, German Infantry, movement of 4. Yeah, it's combat factor, movement factor. Looks like the original and a little bit more dressed up, which actually is fine. Here we've got some Stukas. This must be the Luftwaffe. Hermann Göring Corps. Germans are in corps. Here's the SS. Romanians, Finns, Hungarians, and Italians. Right? So, that's the full complement there. Then we look at the Russians here. Yeah, here are the Guards units. Up here along the top, if I remember right, these armies can be converted to Guards as the game goes on, and they're stronger and a bit faster. Probably a reflection of Lend-Lease and lots of American trucks. And then we have all the infantry here. Moving up here, now we've got the armored corps. Interesting, when they began the war, that's how they broke up their armored units. But then later in the game now we start seeing the Guards army Guards tank units here. These are workers for generating replacements, partisans, and then the railheads. Yeah, I remember that. That's important. It's kind of bringing back memories here. So it looks good. They didn't get too carried away, so I'm kind of happy with this. A little bit of improvement on the original, but there is something about the original. Then on the back, well, looks like we got arrival dates. That could be helpful. Okay. And then setup hexes. So yeah, not two-step on this game, but basically the back is the setup or when they arrive. All right. And the usual, the thickness is okay. I'm not going to punch any out right now, but not too thick, not too thin. I think it's okay. We'll have to do, if you're into it, counter clipping, which I may do. But that's it, one counter sheet, and it looks like the original a bit dressed up. So I'll put this over to the side here. 2 dice, standard white dice, some Ziploc bags. I'll probably store it in something else. Let's look here. Okay, this is interesting. This is actually the setup card. I did open this, and this was actually in shrink wrap with the map. And for a second there, I thought this was a map, and I was really worried that you were going to have to play on this. But I took the shrink wrap off of it, and the map is separately done. And so this is kind of helpful. This setup card here, and it does show the initial setup and their locations, along with what was on the back of the counters. So hopefully that makes setup easier. Nicely done, actually. I'm trying out a magnet mount on I've got some magnet boards. I'm going to try it later. Magnet clips, but I can't do it with a mounted map. Kind of wondering how I can get maybe a paper map of this game to use that if I wanted to. Or I may just do Vassal, which is how I do a lot of my replays. Yeah, this is nice setup here. Put that on the side, put the units on there, gives the directions to it, so I think this is a win here. Looks nice. Here's the actual player aid card. Terrain effects chart. Yep. Let's see, and they talk about nice color here. I don't see movement point. All hexes cost 1 MP to enter. Well, I guess that's how I remember it. So the big thing terrain does is enhances defense, affects combat, I guess. Mountain, all units must stop. Defending is doubled. All units must stop except infantry. I guess that's where we get our movement effect. We have to stop when entering these. All units must stop in swamp. Clear during snow. Ignore retreat from woods. Double strength in mountain. Units defending behind a river are doubled if all attacking units are in river hexes. Okay, it only takes one to take that away. Let's see. Now we got major city, double strength, minor city, nothing. Coast may not cross, borders, rail movement, and then oil fields. And special rules for the Kerch Strait. Let's see what we got over here. Yeah, standard counter, combat strength, movement factor, and then a nice breakdown of both the different types, NATO symbols, and then colors. A lot of nice colors there. Yeah, nice. This is nice. Corps, Army, Army Group. They give you these sizes here. Oh, then they even explain the game markers in the back. So, back is showing when they set up and or when they arrive. So, helpful. Very helpful. Stuka table. Remember that. Remember the Stukas. Tied to both the year and the weather. Okay, depending on the year. And notice in 44 there are no more Stukas. Oh, and this goes to go into 45. So I think Berlin's on the map. I don't know if it'll go all the way to the bitter end. Yeah, snow, nothing's happening. Mud slows it down. So mainly the first part of the year, the Stuka's useful here for the Germans. Let's see what's on the other side. Oh, here's my tables. Here's the tables here. Got the weather table at the top. Hopefully you can see that. Yep, and pretty standard, depending on what turn. Roll a 1d6. Start seeing, yep, here's the campaign times, May, June, and July, August, all clear. And then mud potentially appears in September, October, and November, December, and just snows in January and February. Then it comes out, so that'll slow things down. I don't think they have the weather effects here, but that'll be on in the rules. Black Sea movement, Baltic Sea, okay. And it doesn't say which side. That'll probably be in the rules too. Like 4 to 6, unless you control these 3 cities. So don't move in the Black Sea once you've lost these. Baltic Sea, access only. There we go. Both sides can do this. And it looks like it's a function of what ports you own on the Black Sea to make it better. Baltic Sea movement, 5 or 6, eliminated. +1, actually. No invasions, 1 unit port city to port city, and only 1. And no modifiers, so yeah, it is a 1/3 chance you're eliminated if you move on the Baltic Sea for the Germans. Here we go, here's a movement chart. Tied to the weather. Okay, first impulse, this was the key thing here, first impulse, second impulse, mechanized units can move in the second impulse. Oh, it looks like German infantry and cavalry. Allies can only do aura, tank, and mech, and Russian guard units. Okay, so slower movement here, and light mud takes you down to 4, mud takes you to 2, and snow is half. So the movement effects are pretty much controlled by the weather, type of unit, and then the terrain effects we saw is more, there's a number of terrain you have to stop as soon as you enter. And so it's not necessarily a movement point cost, it's just you have to stop. Slowly coming back to me here. Here's the combat table. Looks like standard AE, A1, AR, contact for C, exchange. Yep, and the explanations are down here. Attacker eliminated. Attacker eliminates 1 attacking unit. All of the units retreat. Attacker retreat. Contact, nothing happens. Exchange. Both sides eliminate 1 unit. Defenders retreat. Defender retreat. Defender eliminates 1 and retreats. And defender eliminated. And let's take a look where the attacker is. Even at 3 to 1, the attacker can retreat. Got to get to 4 to 1, and then still you've got that contact. That could happen. So if I wanted to make sure an attack worked, you probably want to at least get to 4 to 1, if not 5 to 1. And then you've got modifiers. Nice. It was on the terrain effects chart, but they also put it here. Looks like doubled, halved, out of supply, 1/2, off half. And nice. So it's all here. This is pretty handy. I mean, if I'm doing combat, everything I need is here. And it does back up also what I see here. And then mountains, woods except for infantry, swamp, these are all units must stop. So that's how they have a terrain effect. So looks like a very helpful player aid card here. Nicely done. Alright, let's see what else is here. Got a white piece of paper backwards. Oh, there is some errata already. Errata, however you pronounce it. 2 hex retreat. Wow. Gonna have to tweak this or get the latest PDF download of the rules here. Yeah, some collection. Okay. German Stukas. 1 to 6 or 1 to 5 becomes a 1 to 1. 3 to 1 becomes a 7 to 1. Whoa. Well, gonna have to go through the rules and update them actually, or like I said, download the latest. Finland surrender, partisan units. What's up here? Clarifications sheet. Map. It's basically explaining what can be entered where to access. So I would say you want to review this too before playing. But luckily the rules are short enough. You may be able to write in it if you feel like that, or print out the latest copy. Hopefully they'll have living rules. I haven't checked. With those errata taken up. Second player aid card. And then now we get to, if I can get it out, the map. And yes, it is mounted. So here we got the setup here. Let's see, hopefully I can get this with my fingernails. I won't have to, or I can live on the edge and use a knife. No, I think that's what I'm going to do. Live TV, hopefully I don't cut off my finger. I think I can do it with my X-Acto knife up here very gently. I should have done this ahead of time actually, but let's see if that did it. Yep. Okay, and I didn't damage the map. Alright, let's open this up and see if I can display the whole map here. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to show the rules later, hopefully. So that's all out of the way. And let's do it. Here we go. Yeah, it looks nice. Not too, I mean, it's, once again, they've taken the original and just improved it without major changes would be my call. Hopefully I can not rip this up here. I may have to do this sideways. Wow. Yeah, I will have to do this sideways. This is probably how you'd sit with it, with the Russians on one end and the Germans on the other. It's a nice, yeah, this is a nice game to set up, take somewhere. Let's look at the different areas here, if I can pull this off here. It'll be a little crooked, bear with me here. So just looking at the map here, over here we've got the movement chart on the map, that's helpful, and then the Russian order of arrival. So we can just stack that onto it and go from there. Then over here, all the charts appear to be here. Black Sea movement, we see the combat results table over here, we see the terrain key, pretty nice. And over here for the Germans, sorry about the light there, yeah, the same thing. We see the entries, reinforcements, etc. Stuka table, weather table. So turn track's way over there in the corner, kind of covered. Let's see if we can get it. Yep, there we see the turn track, the impulse track. Oh, that's nice. Take, and then the weather track where you can put it in Baltic Sea movement. Awesome. Alright, let's look over here. Yes, Berlin is on the map. And it does go to 1945. Game ends after the May-June 45 turn. So it does go to the end of the war. I don't remember if the original did. I remember Berlin was right on the edge of the map. But we do see here, yeah, we've got Berlin. Not too much further beyond that. But that's enough to get there. And then we see the front lines. There's Warsaw. I'll try and zoom out. Let's see how far it goes down in the south. Okay, it doesn't go all the way down in the south. I don't see it down here for Case Blue. Coming down here, well, there's Maycop oil fields, so gets you part way there. So it chops right at the oil fields. And then we got Stalingrad right there. So this is a nice map. Going to need to flatten it if I do use it. Or, you know, I may turn it into a paper map, and it could fit on a magnetic board. I mean, beyond the Vassal. I like the graphics. Not that I'm an expert. They're nice and clean. Kind of true to the original. You see the forests, and it does go as far as Gorky down here. So, and we've got a little bit of Finland. That's why we got the Finns, but it doesn't, of course, move all the way up during the whole border there. So, yeah, I like the map. Clean, functional, and then the counters. It definitely will, for those of you who played the game in the old days. I think the improvements aren't too much to take away from how you remembered it. So, alright, great. So I'm going to close up the map here. Let's see if there's a safe way to do it. I think I'm doing it right. Yep. That's the trick. And nothing there now, so let's put the rules here real quick. We'll page through the rules, and we'll call it a wrap. I'll check if I'm going to do the other one later, the African campaign. Let's see, Russian campaign here, rules booklet. Okay, let's see if I can get this right here. Okay, we got a nice intro section. We got the components we've already talked about before. We saw all this on the player aid card, so that's good. Let's see, prepare for play. Pretty much straightforward based on the setup chart. Straightforward and loading up the reinforcement tracks. First impulse access restrictions. On the first impulse, AGN, Army Group North must attack only the Baltic MD, Army Group Center Western, Army Group South, Kiev Military District. And Axis forces in Romania, hopefully you can see this, can only attack, so it does limit on that first impulse where they can attack, and Finnish forces must attack in Finland, I guess. That's to handle some kind of gameplay where users, you know, maybe shift AGN resources down to AGC and then AGS and have a big attack somewhere kind of out of character. So you got to follow the original German attack procedure here. Let's see. Sequence of play. German first impulse, replacements, yearly, reinforcements. Okay, so replacements are only yearly. Don't remember that, but makes sense. Movement, combat, and remove partisans. I guess if your Germans are adjacent to it. Then we got the second impulse. Oh, so there are reinforcements that come on the second impulse, apparently. Movement, combat, isolation. And if I remember right, if you're in his enemy ZOC, you can't move, and only certain types of unit can move on the second impulse, and they can only move so many MPs. We saw that on the player aid chart. Then the Russian first impulse. Replacements every turn, it looks like. I'm kind of remembering that now. Reinforcements, first impulse movement. Ooh, paratroop. On snow. Wow. Okay, that's nice. Combat, second impulse, reinforcements, movement, combat, isolation, and that's unique. Deploy partisans. Okay, so that's the full turn. Kind of as I remember it. Detailed sequence of play. Kind of goes into more details, I guess. Then they talk about movement. We saw that on the player aid card. Stop, etc. Terrain effects on movement. Yeah, there's the stop. Stacking. The stack may contain, let's see if I'm on here. Stack may contain a maximum of 2 army-size units or 3 corps. So it looks like the Russian stacking is 2 in general, and the Axis stacking is 3 because they're corps. But the Russians do have those armored corps in the beginning. Other units don't affect stacking. Headquarters, Worker, Partisan, Hitler, Stalin, SS Reserve Unit. And yes, you can move through, no bottlenecks. So stacking, I think it only applies probably at the end of the movement phase. Zone of control. Let's bring this over. Hopefully you can see it. Each of the 6 sides, zone of control. Partisan units do not possess a zone of control. Does not extend across prohibited terrain. Units enter EZOC must end for the impulse and may not move directly from one EZOC to another. Second impulse on an EZOC may not move. Like I said, there it is, nicely summarized. Automatic victory. May attempt to eliminate total combat factors if the attacker can achieve 10-to-1 odds. The defender unit are automatically eliminated, placed in eliminated. Regardless of the outcome, units that took part in the combat cannot move further in the current impulse and may not participate in any other combat, but they can move in the second impulse. And rail movement only on the first. Germans may move 6. 3 German units on snow, 3. Russians 5. And it looks like replacements, reinforcements don't count against it. And must start on rail line, may move. And rail moves in units may not begin in EZOC and may not enter EZOC. Pretty standard. Pretty standard. Railheads, I guess that's mainly for the Germans, well, and the Russians. Sea movement, we saw the breakdowns for that, Baltic and Black Sea, the tables to roll on. Bring this up here. Looks like invasions, Black Sea only. Twice per game, each side may move 1 unit from a friendly port to a coastal hex on the Black Sea. So you can do that too. Combat. Combat is mandatory. There's the key right there. It's not voluntary, and all units that are adjacent must attack. German units. And we see here you can combine. I think you treat a stack. I'll go through this later, but a stack as a whole. This is standard kind of 70s, 80s here. Combat procedure. Calculate the odds, roll the dice. Alright, pretty straightforward. Terrain effects. Off the terrain effects chart, and now they give you an example here. My guess is, here we go, with the river, they're not doubled because this one unit is not on the river. Okay, that makes sense. Nice example there. Place them in the eliminated units box. They're available as replacements. So, surrender, they can't come back. And my guess is if they're out of supply when this happens, they can't. And then, yeah, I got to apply the errata to this too. Here they talk about retreat units. Ignore all woods. You ignore retreat. Terrain does not affect retreating units. Attacking units may not retreat off the map or into an EZOC. So let's see what happens to it. Into an EZOC, across a lake or river, or in violation of stacking. My only question is, and I guess I'll dig for that, the classic, do friendly units negate EZOCs for the standard stuff, retreat and supply. Combat resolution, you can mix and match, but I think combine into attack. All defending units in a hex must be attacked as one, so none of the really old-fashioned, I think from Africa Corps, where you could soak off a stack. Units in a single stack. Not allowed over there. Isolation. Into the second impulse, check all friendly units. If they're 8 hexes from a friendly controlled city or rail, there it is, are immediately eliminated. 4 hexes. Okay, wow. Okay. Second impulse, all friendly units that are more than 8 hexes from a friendly controlled city or rail hex connected to a friendly controlled city are immediately eliminated. Snow, it's 4. Ouch. but it's a friendly controlled city. So you could be a pocket with a city and last. I guess that would be like Stalingrad. Passive hexes to the city or rail hex. Must not pass through an enemy EZOC or enemy controlled city. The city itself does not. And I'm still kind of. I'll have to look around to see if EZOC is negated. Combat supply located in Russia. Snow turns. All Axis units that are more than 1 hex from a city have their combat factors halved. Interesting. Snow turns. Turn 40 axis that are 2 hexes. Okay, it extends. So this is where you get that Russian counterattack in front of Moscow. Yeah, going down a little bit. And then we got reinforcements. I'm not going to deep dive it. Replacements are per year here for the Axis, but every turn for the Russians. Nice. There's special reinforcements. We've got withdrawals, probably when the Allies invaded Sicily. Oh, here we go. Withdrawal, May 44. Has to withdraw units. And then March 45 and May 45. Any type. Here's some other ones. Helsinki, some special rules for the different cities. Okay. And that's effectively, come here to the next page here. Special rules, Hitler and Stalin. Headquarters units. German Stukas. Russian workers, Russian paratroopers, that's interesting. Snow turns. Partisans. And Axis surrender. And we got optional rules. This looks like check boxes they have to make each year. How many cities they have to have captured at the end of each year. Otherwise they lose. Upward rail movement. Russian artillery barrage. I thought there was some in the general they had special rules. Maybe that's what they're incorporating here. Got an armor attack rule. First impulse, leader movement, leadership removal. It's definitely something to explore here. And I believe that takes us to the end of the rules. So, seems like a straightforward game. Can't wait to get this in Vassal on the table, whichever I can do here. Alright, so that is my first attempt with my new setup at doing a open box. And in this case I was doing the Russian campaign, mainly because I don't think a lot of people have done it yet, so I want to do it here. Yeah, so hopefully this was helpful for you in making a decision. Brings back memories for me, my teenage years definitely, and my feeling so far is they've changed it enough to make it nice, but not enough to make it feel like a new game. So it'll kind of bring back memories here. So yeah, the Russian campaign. And hopefully in the next unboxing I'll do the African campaign. I'll check if anybody else has already done it. Mounted maps. It's going to be hard to put out with this. I know it's a nice long one. And there are some slight rules differences too. So great. Thank you for listening. If you like this, please click like. Any comments I'd appreciate, and also feel free to subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.